So I wanted to ask you guys, you have an obsession I noticed with CyberTruck. You guys have like hundreds of videos on CyberTruck for a long time. Am I correct to say that you have an obsession with CyberTruck? So what is
Yeah.
your, I mean, it's obviously coming out, it's going to be a big deal. Many people are thinking that the Cybertruck is going to be a huge catalyst to the stock. The world will wake up and they'll realize that Tesla, you can't ignore it and it'll just generate the buzz. People go to the website. Do you guys feel the same way that it's obviously going to be a great product? It's going to take off, but somehow it's going to be a reawakening of the investment of Tesla?
Yeah, so we were at the event, the unveiling event with, the infamous metal ball breaking the
Yep.
window and all that. We were live streaming. And so I remember at that moment that it drove up on stage, I was holding like one phone to live stream it. And then I was like, I'm going to order this thing the second Elon says it's gone live.
Yeah.
So I ordered it within 3 seconds. And so we're like number 20 on the list. And so we're super excited, hopefully this September, to be one of the first YouTubers to, show it to you
Wow.
guys, because
And
that's what we do. We've got the
I saw
Rivian,
that
we've got the Ford.
you're number 65 on the list for Tesla semi truck, and you're going to get a Tesla Roadster when that does come out because you're the number one biggest Tesla referrer. So you guys are like, you
Yeah, not
strive
just
to
one
be
roadster.
early.
We should be getting multiple. Yeah, and so we're doing a butts and seats tour with that too. We're going to give anyone who helped us get that a ride in it, because we're crazy and because we love this stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
this is going and doing this in person, especially after spending time with COVID. It's nice to reconnect with people. There we go. We're super excited to get that Cybertruck on the road into as many people's, so they can see it and touch it. Because when we actually got to ride it that night at the event,
Yeah.
I think that's what really blew our mind. It's like, it feels so different. To have a vaulted ceiling in a truck was like mind blowing. To have all that space in the truck, and then to have it, we had already experienced Tesla's acceleration, but to do it in a truck was just insane.
And I think that along with the looks is going to be what's going to really drive it like a catalyst, because Tesla could come out with a good looking vehicle like Rivian, great looking truck, no denying it. I get lots of looks whenever I drive it. People are smiling, people want to know who makes it. I tell them it's Rivian. They want to know, no, but like, who makes it? It's Rivian. They're a company. The Cybertruck is going to be divisive. Some people are going to hate it, some people are going to like it. And I think that actually is a good thing for Tesla's brand, because that's going to kind of make a little bit of conflict, make a little bit of friction. And a lot of people are going to love it for being rust proof, for being bulletproof. Those types of things are just stuff that trucks don't have. You can't buy a rust proof truck right now. You just can't. You can say, well, the bed of the Chevy is made out of aluminum, or vice versa. I forget which one's which, but it's not the same as driving up in a Cybertruck.
Yeah, and I mean, we recently heard stuff from Jim Farley again from Ford, talking on CNBC, talking about how, they're the leader in EV trucks, and it
Oh,
just
and that, Elon can make the trucks for Silicon Valley people if he wants to, but Farley's going to make trucks for real people.
and we have his truck, and it's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but
it's old.
yeah.
It feels old. The screen
The way I see it is
feels.
that if 4,500 years ago and you're in Egypt and somebody shows you, here's the pyramid, your first reaction is, this is gross. This guy, because you can't understand why you would make such a simple design of compared to all the other monuments that's ever been built, all these wonderful castles that they've seen before. But then after a short bit of time, it is so iconic. It's kind of like just so beautiful because of its iconic
Do you remember
simplicity.
the first day after it came out? The first
Exactly.
48 hours. First
Right.
48
I
hours,
had the
you
first
saw.
reaction. I didn't like
Yeah,
it. And then the next
exactly.
day, I loved it. The issue with the very first one too was it was still slightly off. It was a little longer than it needs to be. Now it seems to be perfect in my eyes, but back then it was a little bit, something was off on the side view, front view, rear view, beautiful. Side
Well,
view,
and here's the other thing about Tesla is all their designs, I think, has something to do with Franz. When you see it on video or a picture, it doesn't fully give it to you until you see it in person, right? You've probably
Mhm.
experienced that with the Model 3, or if you've seen the Cybertruck in person. When you see it in person, there's just something extra about it. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's the other piece, when people get to experience it on the roads and they're at a red light next to one and like, oh my God, what is that?
Well, and that's the thing. It's so eye catching. It's so eye grabbing. Why do you think some of the most successful like fashion brands are so ugly. It's not that I think that, all Gucci purses
Mhm.
look great. It's that they get the big
Yeah.
freaking Gucci logo all over
Push
the
it to
whole
the edge.
thing. It's
Yeah.
great branding. And
Right.
that has led them to be very successful companies. And I think that that's going to be the same thing with the Cybertruck. You're not going to be able to ignore it.
But
You're going to look at it, and just like a commercial for Coca-Cola,
yeah,
they flash that
iconic
on
bottle.
screen and you go like, I want a Coca-Cola. It's going to be the same thing with Tesla. You're going to look at it and be like, what
Yeah.
is that? And you either know what it is or you don't know what it is. And if you don't know what it is, you're going to have like a perfect marketing reaction where your whole body's going to go like, are we being attacked? Which is like what the red in Coca-Cola is for, right? It's supposed to scare you a little bit because
Mhm.
red's this vibrant color. Here you're going to have it on a different level. Then you're going to learn what it is, and you're still not going to be able to just tune it out, at
Well,
least for months and maybe years.
and I also think it goes back to manufacturing. It's one thing if
Right.
Ford says that they are going to have this very desirable truck, because I get it, the F-150 is a desirable brand, but are they going to be able to make enough of them, even if they had the demand? And with Tesla, they've got the demand, right? Over 1 million people have already signed up for it, and they're going to have the manufacturing.
Yeah. And again, they're manufacturing it in a completely different way than Ford has ever manufactured a truck.
Yeah.
With giga castings and with stainless steel. Like, I mean, the stainless steel part, I think
It's
it's going
brilliant.
to take a few months and maybe a few years for people to fully appreciate that, hey, my truck is not rusting.
Yeah.
And, my truck doesn't fold in half when I drive forward and then unfold because the frame has rusted completely. And so you have an aluminum frame that also doesn't rust, that was cast, giga press.
Yeah.
I think that that's going to be so huge in terms of getting the price down and making it very attractive to Americans.
Yeah, I mean, look at the first Chevy Silverado EV. It's coming out hopefully end of this year. The first version will be $105,000. And I get it. You put out your top of the line one first, but even as they get the price down, we're talking $75,000. It's just a different part of the price of the truck market. I hope that Tesla. I know they're not going to be able to stick to 39.9. I get that, inflation, time, but I hope that they can keep something in the $50,000 range, because I think that's what a lot of people want.
Right. I mean, I've
Mhm.
shown,
Yeah.
say, the Rivian or the Ford to people, and they ask about price, and I tell them, and you can just see a switch turn off in their head, and they go like, "All right, cool.
Right.
I'm not going to get that. I can't afford that.
Right.
I'm not going to get it. So I'm not even going to think about it anymore." And they turn off completely. They don't care. They do not care anymore. And you get the opposite reaction with, say, the Model 3, where they're like, "Oh, it's a Tesla, it costs $80,000," and you go
Yeah,
like, "No, I
exactly.
got mine for like 45 and I got with the tax credit back in the day, so I got it for 35." And they're like, "You got it for what?" And then yeah, especially when because we can compare it to the F-150 Lightning, but I think that most people are going to be comparing it to the F-150 gas powered version, and so the fuel costs are going to be insanely different.
I just think the biggest problem we have, because we're in the bubble, right? It's very hard for us to not be in the bubble. And that's why I like going out into the world, because then when you bump into someone you're just at a parking lot one day and you meet someone who has no idea about any of this, you get to actually see where the rest of the country and the rest of the world's at. And they are just nowhere near this bubble. Like, most of them have no idea what we're talking about. If they've heard the word Tesla, that's a big plus. But
Mhm.
other than that, a lot of them still think that, like you said, Rivian, what is Rivian? Like, they just don't know about this stuff. And I don't blame them. There haven't been any Tesla ads, right? There haven't been any Rivian ads to speak of. So they just don't know what's going on yet.